I would like to review this book because it's a repertoire book, which means that it gives you not only the typical theoretical lines against one particular opening, which obviously would be D4, but it covers also other openings, like even the bird opening, which is one F4, and with D5. So that's what I like of an offer that gives me this chance to cover everything, so I don't have to buy another 10 books in order to try to cover everything. The book begins with obviously, yeah, there is a chapter content in every book, okay. What I mean is that the book begins with a series of games in which the ideas and the pawn structures are given, so the reader can have an idea of how to play. Then, of course, it goes forward to show the real theoretical part with the variations, okay? Not only games, but real theoretical parts with all the variations, but I honestly don't like it so much because, in my opinion, it's difficult to memorize. That's a fact. I generally prefer the games, but I must admit that he covered every possible answer by white, of course not one E4, but all the one made with D4, F4, etc. And at the end of the book there is also 36 exercises with relative solutions. Then, of course, there is another important thing in most of new in chess books. They have an index of variation, which you can use, for example, to play some correspondence games or long time control games and follow what the author tells you to play. So, in my opinion, the book is complete in this sense. And now I will show you one of the beginning games that he gives as example to show what kind of attack you should do and what kind of ideas you play for based on pawn structures. So let me put the pieces on the board correctly. Okay, this is game 7 of the book. At page 25, the game was played between Christian Toth, 2305, against Vladimir Kramnik in the time 2480. So the good IM level, nearly GM, in Rio de Janeiro, 1991. The game starts with knight f3. So, as I show you, the author is trying to cover everything, not only 1d4. In this case, it shows you a transposition. Okay? Knight f3, d5, the move of this repertoire, d4, c6, c4, e6. C takes d5 is a dubious move, it's not so good, okay? Why? Because now black plays e takes d5 and practically this bishop is open as an open diagonal and this is open, so it's a perfect situation for black. Knight c3, bishop f5, bishop g5, bishop e7, bishop takes e7. And now, if you will, like always in this review, I ask you to pause the video and try to guess with which of these two pieces, the knight or the queen, you should take back. If you pause the video, now we go forward. Is queen take e7 the correct move, okay? And why? Because the knight belongs to f6. So one concept that we learn also from this opening book is the fact that some pieces belong to some squares because they have a function, and this is the function of this knight, okay? e3, knight f6, bishop d3, bishop takes d3, queen takes d3, knight b d7, castle, castle, queen c2. So why this move, queen c2? Because if black plays this and white was to capture, he can't, because it will be in a fork, right? So this is the way to try to control this square, e4, okay? Rook f e8. As you can see, yes, some moves are made as development. In this case, you try to get a semi-open file, but often the fight, it's always about the center, okay? It's always about the center, especially in the opening. Rook a b1, rook a c8. And this prepares for the imminent minority attack. After this move, white can no longer readily allow himself to open the c-file. The minority attack is generally an attack made by these two pawns against this. It's called a minority because they are less than the other, okay? Rook f d1. Here the author also analyze what would happen if white would go through a minority attack. So you learn about that. Oops. So rook f d1, knight e4, and now there is a dubious move, which is b4. Okay, so sometimes we have a wrong plan, but again you need to study and know how to neutralize this wrong plan. Okay. It would have been better to take on e4, the author says. How does it black continue? Knight d f6, knight takes e4, knight takes e4. Sorry, these pieces are really heavy, so it's a kind of weight training and workout. Bishop d3, a6, trying to keep control of that, a4, knight d6, beautiful move, right? Outpost, outpost, fighting for this, knight d2. Obviously here I think white could want probably to play knight b3 or knight c5, but I don't know if he can keep that outpost. Or probably he wants to move this pawn to try to keep control of that square. I don't know this knight d2, the meaning behind, okay? But obviously probably black is going to understand what is the meaning behind that move and neutralize it. And black played queen g5. So queen g5 is probably the idea of an attack on the king side, okay? Rook d c1, rook c d8, knight f3. Here it seems there was no idea behind the knight d2. But again, you must always spend some time to ask yourself what is the idea behind that move. Because sometimes if you don't understand their plan, you're going to get into trouble. Queen h5, knight e5, and unfortunately that knight is not really in a good outpost. However, to dislodge him, it blocks a little this rook. Why? Because you have to play oops, f6, and then it goes back, knight f3. Okay, so here there is a diagram, and it means when there is a diagram you need to stop, to pause yourself from watching the game and watch the board and say, okay, I'm black here, what would I do if I was black? So which plan would you play? What would you do? In the game, black played rook e4, and the author says a strange square for the rook. The rook is the only piece that is usually not well positioned in the center. After the correct g5, so congratulations to you if you found this move, the young Kramnik would have had good chances to win, in the style of his two illustrious predecessors. But instead he played rook e4, which, however, it's good because after the game you analyze the game and you understand this wasn't the right move. Queen d1, queen h6, queen d3. Okay, you know what, I found out, because this year I'm spending this year playing against chessbot, and I was complaining that chessbot's engines, this weekend kind of engines, they make these stupid moves that I don't understand. Well, here we have proof that probably they are playing like a human, because we say, so, knight f3 d2, knight f3, knight e5, knight e5 f3, then this, then this. These are all tempi that white is giving to black for an attack that will become clearly successful, because this is scary, right? But again, here there is another diagram, so try to find out what black should do in this kind of position, okay? Because this is how you learn how to play chess. To be an active reader, not only just move the pieces over the board. Black played rook d e8, which is a dubious move. Once more, he should have played this g5. Okay, so here we become introduced to this move, which is g5. Notice that there is another New in Chess book, which is not new, also if it's from New in Chess, that is about the move g4. And all this move g4, when it happens, when it doesn't happen. So the other g5 is like g4, and it's a good idea to learn some of these moves, because they can happen in our games and they can give us ideas on how to attack. Okay, so rook d8 wasn't the best. Now white finally gets it right, and he plays b5, which is the minority attack. And here the author says, the fact that this move works is a moderate catastrophe from the point of view of a second player, because suddenly white gets counterplay. In both of the previous games, on the other hand, black was playing for two results throughout. Okay, here a takes b5, a takes b5, knight takes b5, and now there is a nice move by white. Can you guess which one is this move? So, as I say, I'm trying to show you a game, and the game obviously is from black side, because we are trying to learn d5 as an opening, but we must also try to learn to incorporate the opponent view, because if we don't learn that, we are going to have bad surprises in our games. Okay, so here white played rook takes b5, a great move. Okay, c takes b5. Now you see black has two isolated pawn, double pawns, very easy to attack. You don't have to attack them right now, but they are there, they are very difficult to defend. Then we have another one here, so that's why this move, a positional sacrifice, it's really good, because it created 3 targets. Okay, unfortunately white errs immediately and nullifies the fruit of his defensive effort. What is the right move for white to play? I hope you pause the video a second, try to find it out. The right move is queen b3. Okay? And here he gives a line showing that after queen h5, white continues with an amazing series of moves, which is knight e5. Okay? And this would have been a kind of a big attack for white. Instead, white played queen takes b5. Not a good idea. Again, these 3 pawns, they were weak. They were there for the take. Obviously, the idea was here, this, bring this up, try to give a checkmate on the back rank, a big mess, right? A counterplay, real counterplay. But these pawns were weak, and therefore the taking, yes, it was obvious. So sometimes we must go beyond the mere material, like another books from New in Chess says in the title, beyond material. Okay, queen takes b5, big mistake, and after this mistake, obviously, black doesn't wait and make an amazing move. So please pause once more the video and try to find out which kind of move black played. Black played rook takes e3, boom. Obviously, white overlooked this answer. Queen takes d5, king h8, rook b1, and now there is the big finish, which is queen g6. Queen g6 is obviously threatening this, and there is also a lot of possibilities here. Okay, so it's kind of interesting. Well, a beautiful game. Eventually you can play from here and see how it goes. Okay, that's definitely interesting. Yeah. Okay, I hope you will enjoy the games. There are obviously much more. There is also a lot of theory, as you can see, so the author did cover all the bases. But again, I like the ideas, I like the games, because here, as you can see, there are more than 24 games, because the games give me an idea of how to play the middle game, because my problem is that once you finish your memorized moves, what do you do? How do you play? What are the ideas behind? So that's why I like to watch games that are selected by the author of that repertoire to give me the ideas on how to play once the opening theory ends. Thank you very much. I hope you will enjoy the book and improve your chess.